how to get our blood pressure down, our cholesterol down, our diabetes managed, or even reversed. Having our doctor go, wow, your numbers are great. That's what this is about. And so I'm glad you've joined me. And I'm Zonya Foco, and I've been a registered dietitian nutritionist now for over 35 years. And I am passionate about this subject. Maybe you know me from my public television 2-hour special called Diet Free. That was all about teaching the 8 habits that I have learned and been able to cultivate from all the different diets out there to be able to put together the things that work into habits so that we can live a diet-free lifestyle and not have to feel deprived. And it's not just for you. You know, they say that you diet alone, but you eat as a family. And I'm here to say we should not eat that enormously different than the rest of the family. If you've ever been confused, should you be vegan? Should you try the ketogenic diet? Should you try intermittent fasting? What should we do? There's so many diets that are really competitive, like teaching total opposite things. Like it's all about carbs, it's all about sugars. No, it's all about animal proteins. And you know, which is it? Which should we is the bad guy that we should be getting rid of? Is it the timing of our meals? Well, if you've been confused, you're not surprised. It's confusing, but I want you to know something about me. And I love to read all of these books. Even if people are criticizing it and saying it's really crazy and hokey, I read it anyway. Because there's always a grain of truth that can be extracted and put together. So I've read all these, and I'm really excited to share the really good findings from each one. But then there's the practice of how can we take that and put that into a lifestyle that really works for the whole family in a really reasonable and lifetime way. And that's what I think is super exciting about what I'm going to share with you today. So we're going to look at these 4 diets. This is the 4 we're going to really focus on, and you're going to learn and extract the really good from each one and how to put it into a great diet for the whole family. So here's what you're going to learn today. So here's what we're doing. Number 1, the pros and cons of the top 4 diets and how to turn the best from each into doable habits for life that are not depriving. Okay? If whatever you're doing ever feels depriving, it becomes worthless. All right, we cannot let it be that way. We want to live in our culture. We want to be able to birthdays, anniversaries. We want to be able to make all those happen and live in a real world. But we want to do it healthfully, and we can. We absolutely can. I want to share that. Next thing I'm going to share is solutions for what's for dinner dilemma, because I find that if that's what derails us every time, right? No matter what diet we're on, we got to put dinner on the table, and it needs to be nourishing for the entire family, and it needs to be easy and lickety-split. So I'm going to give you some great tips for that, promise that, and all the while, you're going to be learning about my diet-free program, the one that was featured on public television, the one that I'm so proud of. It's probably some of the best work that I've ever done. Some of you know that I've created a lot of courses, and this is my flagship course. And it's offered and available on my website. You can do the 10-week program anytime. We have work sites using it all across the country. But I'm doing a special version, 4-month long. I do it once a year, and we're kicking it off. But in the meantime, how can we lose weight without dieting? Let me ask you this. Addiction. How many of you would say, yes, there are scientific studies that show and that prove that food can be addictive? Yes or no, do you think? Well, let me tell you this. When I was in college over 35 years ago, I would ask my professors, is food addictive? Is food addictive? Because I knew food was addictive. I know how to eat compulsively and just not, I have experienced this and losing control with food and how high sugar foods really tweak the brain and different foods. And I would ask my professors, and they always said, no, we have no studies that show that food is addictive. But now, MRI imaging, we now know, studies show that sugar is indeed addictive. We have the studies to show. And I want you to know that you get all my slides today. There's a link, look for the link, and you can download them. And all these are links, so you can back up and read up on what I say. Don't believe what I say or what anybody says on the internet. Make sure it's evidence-based. And I will tell you, everything that I'm going to share with you is evidence-based, and you should back me, check me up, okay? So I want you to know, we're looking at this, and we're studying this, and we're finding that the brain, and it's different for everyone. That some people are more addicted to sugar than other people are. It's something we learn, but we absolutely learn that sugars, reward centers of our brain are activated very similarly to as with cocaine. So we're learning a lot about this. I do want to jump into sugar quite a bit because we need to learn how to manage it, because in America we have a lot of sugar going on that we don't even know about. Some of it we're aware of, some of it we're not. But we need to know that when it comes to heart disease, diabetes, obesity, you name it, all these diseases and Alzheimer's disease, sugar plays an huge, huge role. And the American Heart Association says we can have some sugar, and I'm really excited about that. We can have 6 teaspoons of added sugar for us ladies. This is added sugar. 9 teaspoons for men. It's not fair they get more. And that's added sugars. And I love to add it to certain things like stir fries, a little bit of sweet and sour in a stir fry. So then you eat like 2 cups of vegetables, all these vegetables, it makes them addictive, right? Love to be able to use sugar appropriately and in a few desserts so that you can love on the family. I love to make loving apple fruit crisp for the family. So we get some sugar, but not a lot. How do you think we're doing as Americans on average? On average, some more than 22 teaspoons, some less than 22 teaspoons, on average, 22 teaspoons a day. Now, wait a minute, 22 teaspoons a day when we're only supposed to have 6 or 9. Whoa, that's a lot. Wait a second, that's an average of 17.5 teaspoons of added sugar, too much every day. That's a lot. That's a third of a cup, over a third of a cup. Oh my goodness. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you start adding that up every day, it adds up to 11 cups of added sugars, too much, that we're putting through our body every single month. Think about that month after month, year after year of what this does to us. And our organs are not designed to process this much sugar. They are not. And the hardest hit organs are the pancreas, the heart, the liver, the brain. Yeah, we're learning all this. You're probably going, Zon, thanks. You are quite the deliverer of some pretty awesome news. I'm like totally like, thanks. I thought we were going to have fun today. But hang with me, because there's good news. There's really good news. Once we learn about where sugar hides in our foods, and it hides in things like Gatorade, it hides in things like Smart Start cereal, things that you would like not even realize. Smart Start cereal has even more sugar than does Fruit Loops. I mean, come on, like, whoa, like we get to see, granola bars, power bars, things that we think are actually good for us. And we're like, whoa, we're having more sugar than we think we are. But the good news is that when you get the added sugars removed down to those recommended levels, that doesn't even have to go to 0, but you get that too much added sugar removed, and laboratory results improve within weeks, days actually. It is amazing. And your A1C, your blood sugar levels, all of that, they improve. So really learning to address added sugars. So I'm passionate about doing it in a healthful way, helping us live in our culture, but really learning how to use a little bit of label reading, but doing it being knowledgeable and smart. But we need to do it without dieting, without counting carbs. We need to do it we don't have to count our macros. I know everybody thinks we have to count our macros, our protein, our carbohydrates, our fats. No, we don't. It's surprising. We can do this, but we do need to figure out how to get off sugar. And I'm going to give you a great, fantastic tip today to help you kick sugar. Ketogenic diet. I want to jump into this. I said we were going to talk about 4 diets, and this is the one, number 1, because we're going to talk about this quite a bit today because there's so much to learn from it. And I want you to understand how it works. Now, the ketogenic diet is the star on getting people to be aware of sugar in their diet. Yay, keto. I'm so glad they teach people that. They teach people to, whoa, there's sugar in this, there's sugar in this. Oh, I didn't realize there's sugar in this stir-fry sauce, and this, and they learn about sugar. And they also, but they throw the baby out with the bathwater. They also are like, oh, starches too. We're going to get rid of all starchy foods too, anything that can turn into sugar. And you're going to eat a lot of nuts, avocados, butter. You're going to eat all these things. You can have all the butter you want. You can't have bread, so maybe you won't eat quite so much butter. But anyway, you can eat a lot of those things, but you can't eat anything starchy. And what happens, it's a very high-fat, low-carb eating plan. And people say, Zon, do you advocate eating low carb? And it's like, yes, much lower than the typical American. When you see my day, it's much lower. But is it this low? No, it's not this low. But there's still great things we can learn from this diet. So let's hang on to this. Let's hang on to this a little bit. I want you to know that I'm all about evidence-based. I have references for everything I'm going to be sharing with you today, a lot of references. Metabolic advantage. I want to make sure you understand this about the ketogenic diet, that they talk about how you can have a metabolic advantage, meaning you'll burn more calories, you can eat, and the calories won't even matter. There'll be this metabolic advantage. You'll be eating thousands of calories, but you'll be losing weight. They talk about this metabolic advantage, and they never say exactly how many calories it is, but they talk about this metabolic advantage. And I want you to know there's truth to this, but I want you to know that it's highly falsified, what a lot of doctors say. They say the metabolic advantage is highly falsified. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? They say they get you to follow the diet perfectly because you'll get the reward of ketosis. And when you follow the diet, you'll get this beneficial metabolic advantage. And yes, it is true that some calories can be sneaked out. And here's how it is. Through the acetone in the breath and keto acids lost in the urine, it does add up to a certain amount of calories a day. Do you know how much it is? When you read the books, you're like, wow, it must be thousands, hundreds. It must be like lots of calories every day. And it's 45 calories a day. I don't know about you, but that is not a lot. That's not a lot of metabolic benefit to go through such deprivation to get this benefit. You're like, but wait a second. People on ketosis, they lose weight. They lose a lot of weight. And yes, first up, there is when you cut anything like this from your diet, all the stored carbohydrate in your muscles and in your liver, which holds water, will be released, and then you'll lose water weight. So there's about 3-4 pounds of water weight. So it's really exciting. There's always that I just lost 4 pounds. On the scale, it's going the right direction. Great. It's only been 2 days. Oh, how exciting. And then so you have water weight, but then what happens is your calorie intake drops because there's such limitation, right? And the bottom line is it limits your calories. And I've always, when I talk to people doing ketogenic diet, I'm like, hey, can I analyze your diet? If you know, I'd love to. Would you write down everything you eat? Yeah, I'll write down everything I eat. I go, how many calories do you think you eat? I eat thousands of calories a day. Here it is. Here, taking it. And they take a look. And I'm like, well, it's 1,400 calories a day. And they're like, it's only 1,400 calories a day? I go, it is. It's magical, but it gets you. And they're like, well, I guess it's getting me to lose weight. And it is getting me to lose weight, the water weight. Anybody will lose weight on a 1,400 calorie a day diet. But when you figure it out by the year's time, studies show that it's exactly the same as any other well-balanced 1,400 calorie diet. So at 1 year's time, it's the same. So there's no real benefit at a year's time. But there are benefits to learning the secret to keto dieters. They learn some really awesome things, and I want us to hang on to that. But I also want you to know there's really not that big a benefit to being in ketosis. I wanted you to know that. So I hope that that's understandable. I hope I made it simple. In general, here's the pros and cons. All right, people get the dangers. Yay! Let's hang on to that, right? Let's figure out how to hang on to that. The cons are, yes, up to 17 nutrient deficiencies. When I've analyzed diets and when you review all these, when they've analyzed them in studies, it's like there's a lot of deficiencies when you eliminate all those food groups. And that's a problem. Here's the big thing right now, the latest, newest thing in nutritional science is about the gut microbiome. Have you been hearing about the gut microbiome, probiotics, about how important it is to keep our gut microflora in a good, healthy balance? It drives our immune system. It drives our metabolism. It drives our brain, depression, serotonin, how we make it. It's so important, and digestion, and so much help. And we're messing with our microbiome so horrible in America. You know that when we take an antibiotic, it hits it hard. So we need to take probiotics to replace it. And here's what we're finding on a ketogenic diet within 48 hours. That lack of carbohydrate, fiber is what feeds the microflora. So this is a big con, a really big con. There's other really big cons. They use a lot of processed meats, and we know that increases our risk of colon cancer, stomach cancer, esophageal cancer. We know these things. There's a lot of things. So it's like, wait a second. We're not here we want to do diet free, right? We want to lose weight without dieting. But how can we hang on to the pro? Because here's what keto gets right. It helps you gain control over sugar. And sugar is a problem in America today. And I applaud the ketogenic diet for teaching people and getting people off sugar. Yay. But guess what? I think we can do that without dieting. I think we can do that without the extreme. And here's what I want you to know. What we're going to think, we're going to flex that no keto. I love it. They're like, "Oh, no, thank you. Oh, no, thank you. I'm not going to have dessert." They join a birthday party, but they don't have the cake. Now, I can teach you how to have a little bit of cake. You have it and you can have it. And you can have cake on occasion. But I'm saying it's pretty easy. I often say no thank you, and I'll peel an orange and eat an orange while everybody else is having cake. And I still celebrate with everybody. I mean, you can do it either way. But I will tell you, you can say no thank you a lot more than you do and still feel happy and not be deprived and make fruit your dessert. Make fruit your dessert. And you will still gain control over sweet cravings. You'll get to where you control and you're not out of control. Have you ever felt that out of control? Eat an Oreo, eat another Oreo, can't, out of control. Oh, I've felt that. I know that. But I'm so in control now. I'm so happy with my life, and you can too. You can absolutely feel that. I want to share this really important tip with you, and this is let nature be your candy. In the ketogenic diet, they let you have a little bit of fruit, but really, you should be allowed to have all fruits, any fruits. Okay, not a whole watermelon at one time. All right, not a whole watermelon at one time, but let nature be your candy, and fruit is amazing. It gives you potassium, magnesium, it fills you up, it's got fiber, it's got water content, and it satisfies the brain. And in fact, I was working with a woman a long time ago when I worked at St. Joseph Mercy Hospital, in fact, in the outpatient nutrition counseling. I was working with a nurse one time, and I said, she was like, "Oh, I have these terrible sweet cravings." She goes, "I do everything right, breakfast, lunch, everything's right, I exercise." She goes, "But I get a sweet craving every afternoon, and I have to go down to the gift shop. I get candy, I eat candy. And if I just didn't get that sweet craving that just controls me and drives me, if I just didn't get that, I'd be fine." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, how much fruit do you eat?" And she goes, "Fruit?" She goes, "Isn't that high in sugar?" I go, "Fruit is nature's candy, and it gives your brain the simple carbohydrate it requires. And when you're not eating fruit, it sends you a fruit craving. But you're misinterpreting that fruit craving for I need candy, right? I need chocolate. I need, it's a fruit craving, okay? You're having a little misinterpretation." And she was like, I go, "Just try this. I want you to eat 3 fruits a day. In fact, goal for 4, so you'll be sure to have 3, but have 3 fruits a day." In fact, I taught her the sweet craving cure. And that is to have a glass of water and a serving of fruit every 4 hours while awake. You don't have to get up in the middle of the night to do this. She was like, "Okay, I don't have to get up in the middle of the night, but every 4 hours while awake, a glass of water and a serving of fruit." She's like, "Okay." I go, "You're going to have to buy a lot." She goes, "Yeah, I guess so. I'm going to have to buy, for 7 days, I'm going to have to buy 21 pieces just for me." I go, "Yeah, and have your husband do it too." All right, so they're buying a lot of fruit and they're eating a lot of fruit. And so sure enough, she came back to me 2 weeks later. I had her try this. And I said, "So, how was your sweet cravings?" I didn't have a 1. Fruit really does work. It really does. I shared this story in one of my presentations in Portland, and this Laurel emailed me right afterwards. This is a legitimate, real email right here. And she said, "I heard you speak in Portland last week. I want to thank you so much for your tip about fending off cravings for sweets. My husband has been like an alcoholic, only with sweets. If he got a little, he wanted a lot. Once he had the craving, there was no stopping him. I've seen him swigging Caro corn syrup if nothing else was available." He says, "We've been consuming fruit every 4 hours when awake, and he reports his cravings are gone. I can't thank you enough. You've made a believer out of me." Let nature be your candy. It will turn your life around. It is such a simple but powerful and important habit. So try it. Alrighty. I think you will. Will you? I think you will. All right, thanks. Next up, we talked about the ketogenic diet. We got the positive we're going to take from that. And now let's talk about vegan. Vegan is an amazing diet, and it's 100% plant-based. Nothing from an animal whatsoever. So no eggs, no dairy, no meat, no chicken, no fish. Now, a lot of people would say, "Wow, that's giving up a lot of food groups. Wow, that's pretty depriving." And I get that. But I will tell you that I am never down on what I'm not up on. And I did do vegan for 30 days. My husband and I both did together, and we learned so much. We learned a lot that we don't have to have meat at every meal, and you don't have to have meat at every meal. And there are so many amazing plant-based meals, and that you can eat plant-based, and we should eat plant-based at least most of the time. And I love teaching people fantastic new meatless meals that are easy to make, that become new family favorites. But do we have to be 100% vegan? We're going to look at the pros and cons. I salute you if you want to be 100% vegan, but you do want to make sure you're not the Skittles vegetarian, right? Yes, Oreos and Skittles are vegetarian, but they're not exactly nutritious. And that's why people say not just vegan, but whole food plant-based. Because if you're whole food plant-based, you won't eat Skittles and you won't eat Oreos. And you'll only get your sugars from dates and whole foods, fruits, and things like that. Looking at the vegan pros and cons, it's really nutrient rich. And studies confirm that it prevents, treats, reverses 13 and 14 leading causes of death. They have a lot of data to really support. And it's so good for the microbiome. You're getting 30, 40, 50 grams of fiber a day, because when you're 100% whole food plant-based, everything has fiber that you eat. Instead of when you eat a lot of animal food, that doesn't have fiber. And also, plant food has antioxidants. So your antioxidants are much higher, and as the animal comes down. And I will say, we Americans, one of the things we have to learn from them is they do plants. We always think, oh, don't we need protein? We need protein shakes, protein. Everybody's talking about protein. No, we are not deficient in protein. We're deficient in plants. Okay, we need plants. And guess what? Plants have protein that's actually really good for us and good for our kidneys. It's really great. And so I want you to mention there's a lot of pros. But the cons are, for the most part, it's kind of too restrictive for the family. It creates family tension. When one person goes vegan, it's hard. It can be hard. So is there a way that we can meet in the middle? Is there a way that we can get the benefit? Here's what this diet gets right. It's they veg it up. Vegetables, they get their 10 to 12 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Other people that are using animal products are lucky if they get 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. So when we start to let animal, I still personally, when we finished our 30 days of vegan, we learned a lot, but we still added back salmon. We still added back some unprocessed meats, but never processed meats. And we have totally been able to get meats down, more plants up. We know how to make some amazing, amazing vegan dishes. So that's what we want to do. Let's be veganish, shall we? And let's get the benefit from the vegan lifestyle. Let's go meatless and cheeseless at least twice a week. Learn how to do that. Mushrooms, zucchini, eggplant, peppers, I mean, they're all just so fantastic. But here's what they really get, and what I teach in the diet-free program. In the 8 diet-free habits, there they are. DIETFREE, each one stands for one of my 8 key habits that helps keep your carbohydrates, your protein, your fats in check so that everything is good without you having to count any macros. That's right. And all we're doing is we let these habits that we learn one at a time, step by step. Because if you do all 8 of them at the same time at once, it feels like a diet. It's too much change. We do one at a time over a 4-month period, and we really ease into, or over the 10-week program, whichever way you do it, we ease into it, and it never feels like a diet, and you're able to make great changes. And what happens, that third habit, the third E, is eat often, include a fruit or vegetable each time. And you can be vegan and do the diet free or not be vegan. None of these are meat. We teach you how to do meat in moderation. That's what's super amazing. So I want to share this success story. This is Ashley from Florida. And look at this. He says, I've taken first place in weight loss contests. He's really proud of himself. It was awesome. He's won some big prizes, only to gain it all back and then some. Diet free is the first time I've attempted to lose weight without following a diet. Just replace bad habits with good ones. And they're habits that I can stick with for a lifetime. I'm happy to say I've lost 60 pounds and I feel fantastic. And he knows he can keep it up. He can do this for life. Next up is the Mediterranean diet. What's the pros from this? I'll tell you, this diet is pretty outstanding, and it's ranked #1 for years now, and they get you to eat vegetables. They just do. It's an unprocessed, natural, close to the farm way of eating, style of eating. That's the way they are in the Mediterranean. There are whole grains. They do eat some grains. It's not zero. It is lower in carbohydrate than an American diet because it's lower in sugar and it's lower in refined grains. So it would be considered a low carb diet compared to the standard American diet, but not low carb like a ketogenic diet. And there's olive oil, and they know how to use it. They use olive oil on their bread instead of butter. Very good choices. They use beans and fish. You know, we think beef, pork, chicken, fish. What am I having for dinner? Beef, pork, chicken, fish. No, no, no. They have that. That's fish, fish, chicken, fish, 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 chicken, and they might have beef or pork sometimes. So they do include it. They have it, which I'm excited because I'm able to include those in my diet too. I'm excited about that. But they use beans. They use a lot of beans for a lot of their meals, and so they're vegan-ish. They have some meals that are plant-based and some meals that have fish, some meals that have chicken, but it's like in condiment proportions. So there's so much we can learn from the Mediterraneans, and they use garlic and herbs instead of so much salt and processed additives, things that we add to our foods, and olives. They use olives instead of bacon. Like we use bacon, they use olives, and it gives that salty, nice, it's a really nice replacement. So here's kind of the pros and cons of this diet. What I love about it is they can still enjoy meat and carbs, but just both smartly chosen in moderation, and I love that. Now the cons: must learn to shop for more produce and learn how to cook it. Must learn to eat processed food and fried food and more olive oil, nuts, and intact grains. Got to learn how to do that. Must learn to eat fish and seafood more than hamburger and fries. Wait, maybe these are all pros. It's hard to find some cons. Only cons is learning how to do these habits into the whole family. And it's so tasty and delicious. And what they get right is it's real food, ladies and gentlemen. They focus on real food, and we just need to learn how to talk about that elephant in the room of learning how to cook more real food and less processed food, or at least how to buy convenience items and have conviction and convenience come together and do it with real food. Intermittent fasting, IF, very popular. What is it? In a nutshell, it's a hard stop line in the sand from eating. It limits a person's eating time, and they'll successfully decrease calories. Like if you're able to eat anytime you're awake, you'll probably eat more calories. But if you close that window a little bit, you'll probably decrease your calorie intake. And there is power in that, especially not eating 3 hours before bed. Wow, just think how many less calories you'll eat if you end nighttime snacking. So there's a really big how to do IF and how to do IF right. But I will tell you this, not only does it limit calories effectively, it offers additional health benefits, like it resets our digestive enzymes. Yeah, it really does. We actually have science to show us. And autophagy, do you know what that is? It's cellular cleaning, reabsorbs sick cells. When we give ourselves gut rest, it does this. And also an improved mitochondrial function, right? You want the powerhouse of your cell to really work. And so we're seeing this benefit from gut rest. So, dude, yeah, we want to do this, but we want to do it right. Now, some say if a little is good, more is better, right? Some say 1 meal a day. Some say 2 meals a day. Or fasting 16 consecutive hours. I want to caution you against this pendulum swing. We always like, oh, well, if a little is good, more is better. But certain quality of our diet starts to crumble. And we don't do so good. You don't get 30 grams of fiber. If you eat 1 meal a day, you're not going to get the fiber you need. You'll probably be so hungry you won't even make good choices. And how do you get along with the family? How do you enjoy other loved ones if you're only having 1 meal a day? It's a difficult lifestyle to live. So I would caution you against that. Also, when we analyze those 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day or even a closed window, even just skipping breakfast, and just doing lunch and dinner, when we look at the daily antioxidant and the fiber requirements are difficult to meet. They don't get berries, they don't get oats and flax and things like that. So there's an importance to this. So my moral is no, more IF is not always better. And here's what they get. 12-hour gut rest is best. It's ideal, and I've been teaching it in diet-free for years. It makes me so happy. I've been teaching it forever. The 12 to 14-hour fast is a really good number. Here's what we do in the Diet-Free 8 Habits, DIETFREE. It's include breakfast and stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bed. A lot of us have a bad habit of eating unconsciously in the evening, and it's not good. It's not good healthy foods for eating then either. And I'm not saying not a snack. Sometimes we adjust this to work just for you. We adjust this habit just so it works exactly for you, but I will tell you it's powerful, that the timing of your meals is incredibly important to your success. So we want the quality of your food to be tippity top, Superfoods, antioxidant rich, a little bit of animal food in moderation, getting the whole balance, getting 30 grams of fiber, and the 8 diet-free habits gets you to step into accomplishing all of that without having to count calories and count macronutrients. You just don't have to do that. But it's one habit at a time. I've got another success story I want to share with you. I can't help. I hope you don't mind. I love reading other people's success stories and how they've done it. And this is Diane, and she shares, I've done diets. I know them, right? I consider myself pretty knowledgeable on the subject. She says, but diet-free cleared up a lot of misconceptions about sustainable weight loss. I don't have to give up all grains or all sweets. Who knew? And now, 27 pounds later, I feel amazing. It's so fantastic. My numbers are all good now, too. These habits aren't hard. They aren't depriving. I can do this forever. The 8 diet-free habits help you end your addiction with food, help you do it in a realistic way so that you can really live it and live it with the whole family. That's what I'm so passionate about. Let's review. What did we learn today? We learned 4 things, right? Keto, gain control over sugar, veg it up like the vegans. Eat real food. 12-hour gut rest is best. It's absolutely really important and really good. So those are the 4 things. And you're like going, okay, Zon, I know what you're thinking. All right, but maybe that's not a diet, but it's still a lot of work, isn't it? And I barely have time to get dinner on the table as it is. What's for dinner? What am I going to do? Well, okay, what? Well, I got you covered because this is my passion, right? This is bringing it all together at the dinner table and how to do it fast and easy. I don't love to spend hours cooking. I don't. I hate it. I want to have time to exercise. I want to have time to be with my family. I want to do things. I come to the kitchen, 15 minutes, I want to be able to produce a meal. 15 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes on Sunday. That's when I have a lot of time. All right, but otherwise, 15-minute dinners is what I like. In fact, if you can give me some 1-minute dinners, I got some 1-minute dinners and 5-minute meals. But 15 minutes, 30 max. Let's get a healthy meal on the table. How can we do it? And I've got you covered. So what I want to share with you is my easy button. We all need an easy button, right? Dinner pops out, right? Push the button on your fridge, salads pop out. But how to make it the fastest way to healthy. And my first cookbook that I wrote, and a lot of you know that I've done 2 cookbooks, the Eat Real cookbook with Krista Sanderson. Yes, this is my most recent book, and I'm excited about that. But also, this has been the mainstay of my life and has fed and nourished my family so much. And Diet Free, we dig deep into this book in the Diet Free program. You're welcome to have both books, but this one is the one that marries with Diet Free. And let me just show you, there are 2 things I want to share with you, and that is to have a plan. Have a plan, have a plan, have a plan. If you have a plan for dinner, and if you have a plan that's like, I hate sitting down and having to plan what's for dinner. What are we going to have? What are we going to have? Oh, it's so much. What if I could just have a shell of a plan that I always follow, and every week is the same, and but it's different. Every day, night is different, but it has a shell. So I'm going to teach you how to have a plan, and then I'm going to teach you how to have a plan when you don't have a plan. Let me show you that in the Lickety Split Meals cookbook that stands up right on your kitchen countertop, and that recipes are so easy to cook from, right? They're like so easy. You can have ADD in the kitchen. You got stir fry, pizza, pasta, stir fry, all these sections in the book. What if you always kicked off every Monday with a crock pot? What if you could load it on Sunday night for a totally cook-free Monday? What if you did the 15-minute meal night on Tuesday? Because you don't have a lot of time to cook on Tuesday, and you turn to that section and you find a meal. You could even write these out for the family. Write them all out on here, and so people know what's for dinner and they can turn to that page. Oh, and then the next night's pasta night. Yes, every Wednesday's pasta night in my family. And you're like, pasta, isn't that fattening? Oh, let me teach you. Remember, it's diet-free. We don't give up whole groups of food. No. Pasta. Not the first cup is fattening. It's the next cup, the next cup, the next cup. And you might be laughing. We don't eat that much, do we? Do you know in a restaurant, the typical amount serving is 3.5 cups of pasta. I was talking to a woman one time. She goes, I go to a restaurant. She goes, I get the pasta marinara. That's a good choice, right? And I go, well, that's a good choice. I said, but you don't eat all of it, do you? She goes, well, yeah, I do. And I go, well, the average amount of pasta they serve in a restaurant is 3.5 cups of pasta. And a half a cup is the equivalent of a slice of bread. I said, so if you eat the 3.5 cups, that's like eating 7 slices of bread. And she goes, oh no, Zonya. She said, I eat 7 slices of bread with my pasta. Only in America. Why would you have the big, thick Texas toast to go with your pasta? It's ridiculous. No, we don't do that. We have pasta, and we have pasta with vegetables. A lot of it, even 50-50 pasta, veggies. and we use a whole grain pasta. I encourage you that once you learn to like whole grain pastas, here's one of my favorites right here from the Aldi. And this whole grain pasta, I will tell you, will fill you up. You eat a cup of this, you eat a cup of white pasta, and you just keep eating it and eating it because you can pack it in. But this has a built-in portion control regulator with all the great fiber and all the added nutrients from the whole grains. Plus veggies, plus a salad, just a half a cup to a cup of pasta is so satiating and so satisfying. So it works really great. So we do pasta on a regular basis in our house, but we don't have a lot. Next is of an exercise eat night. And I turn to that section in the chapter and I pick something out. The Spanish red beans and rice is so easy. You can dump all these ingredients together, put it in the oven, let it bake, go exercise, come back and eat. Yeah, oven exercise eat. Yeah, we're getting our fitness in. And then there is pizza nights, Friday night. Love pizza night. It's diet free, baby. You are not depriving yourself of pizza. You are going to have pizza, but you're going to do it right. You're going to have veggies on that pizza. You're going to have a whole grain crust, and you're going to have a salad with it. You're going to do what I call the pizza three-step code of conduct. It's going to be smartly done, smartly well done. You can have pizza. I eat pizza every week of my life. Every Friday night, that's right. Saturday night, stir fry. It's a great way to clean out the refrigerator. Stir fry, you can even use frozen vegetables. You don't have to chop anything if you want. And then 30-minute meal night. And these are all chapters within the book. So I encourage you to have a plan. Prep your pantry or freezer for the 3 Ps for when you don't have a plan. Potatoes. The other night, I was like, oh, I have no idea what's for dinner. And I was like, wait, I've got some baked potatoes. I got sweet potatoes. And what I love about these is my husband and I love sweet potatoes. So this is his size sweet potato. This is my size sweet potato. And this is my son's plain potato because he doesn't like sweet potatoes. No problem. It's still good, real food. And you can microwave these. Or if I plan 3 hours in advance, I'll put them in the crock pot. They cook up great in a crock pot. Or put them in the oven for an hour. But anyway, microwave them. And you can top these. In the cookbook is a chicken Dijon stuffed baked potato. Open up a can of chicken. I know sounds like, don't knock it till you've tried it. Add it with some Greek yogurt and Dijon mustard and put that on top with some steamed vegetables on top, some asparagus. It's a fantastic meal in like 10 minutes. That's like, oh my gosh, it was great meal. So yes, going back to that, I can make pasta, I can make potatoes or pizza. I always have those 3 things when I don't have a plan that I know I can make. I hope this concept, this idea of having a menu routine, or at least having these 3 Ps. So you plan for when you don't have a plan, but always be striving to have a plan. And if you have a shell of a plan, it really helps you get there. I wanted to share with you, a man is never so handsome as when he has a spatula in his hand and is making up some nice veggie-rich pita pizzas. Pita pizzas, love to use pita bread. We put them in our freezer. We always have them on hand. Always use a jar of spaghetti sauce. I mean, it's like so easy, right? It's easy. And find any vegetables. You can saute them first. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we put them on raw. I've got 5 different ways you can do pizza in the Lickety Split Meals and more ideas in the Eat Real cookbook. So there's just, do those look yummy or what? Yeah, they are. Totally yummy. And pizza. Diet free, baby. We're having some pizza. You have a salad with that, and you're so satisfied. Losing weight without dieting. I would be remiss if I only talked about food. What about exercise? Getting in walking. Fantastic. Walking's my favorite. Also biking or anything, any exercise that you love to do, what you love to do. I love to walk and talk with my friends, either by phone or with them, but by phone when I can't be with them. It's great to get my walks in. But what about resistance exercise for your metabolism and getting your muscle and maintaining your muscle? Because we lose muscle as we age and we don't want to lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. Are you doing resistance exercise? And are you doing it? The new studies show that we used to say you had to exercise, you had to do resistance exercise 3 times a week. But now the new studies show you only have to do it 2 times a week. Oh my gosh, that's really awesome. You can gain muscle mass 30 minutes twice a week. 30 minutes twice a week. Are you doing it? Are you preserving your metabolism? Are you getting that in? Are you consistent with it? Do you have something you look forward to that you miss it if you don't do it? Have you got that in your habit? Because if you don't, I want you to commit right now to getting there. And it's a step-by-step process. It doesn't happen overnight, but we can step you into getting that. True or false? 2 months of strength training for 30 minutes, 2 times a week, can reverse 2 years of muscle loss. True or false? Well, the answer is false, actually. It's actually 2 decades of muscle loss. Yes, thanks to Miriam Nelson, PhD of Strong Women Stay Young. They have discovered this. So my heart to heart with you is this. Will you start doing resistance exercise? Will you put it on your calendar? Make it fun. What I know for sure is exercise can't be the dreaded have to. It have to make it your anticipated get to. And we know how to do that in Diet Free. We work on exercise and nutrition each and every week, and we're working on it and setting goals. And we start with the mental commitment. We start with being more active in our everyday movement and things around the house. We up our metabolism ever so ink it in. We talk about flexibility, aerobic exercise, and we set goals for it. And we overcome the obstacles that have derailed us every single time to being consistent with aerobic, flexibility, and muscle training. I could show you success story after success story after success story, but I'm just going to show you Marsha's. And she says, I had no idea how to motivate myself to exercise. None, 0 zip. She couldn't figure it out. And she was addicted to sugar. So she joined the Diet Free Deep Dive, and everything just fell into place. Little by little, the goal setting got me to where I can honestly say exercise is my middle name, and sugar no longer controls me. I'm officially down 35 pounds. Thank you for all the support and guidance. Yay, Marsha. Thank you for being in Diet Free. In fact, Marsha will be in the next Diet Free again as a repeater. A lot of people will take Diet Free again and again as a refresher because it's really great to revisit each of these habits and get back and make sure we get them down. And it's just a really fun, great, supportive community and a great activity. So that's Marsha, and yay you. So here's my question. What about you? Once a year, we do this deep dive, and I would love for you to join in. If you want to take what we've learned today and run with it, one step at a time. You never feel like you're on a diet. You never feel deprived. We step on into it, and pretty soon, you're just like amazed at how you feel. It includes all the needed success tools, really great stuff. I'll tell you, we talked about the cookbook. It includes this really awesome lifestyle guide that you're working in all throughout, and this motivating novel that's so inspirational. The Diet Free novel is so inspirational, and a little habit tracker all comes together. And we have a coupon code for you, so make sure you sign up and save. All right, use the coupon code. And I also want to say this. For those of you doing the deep dive, the 4-month deep dive, I offer a 45-day no-risk guarantee. This is how confident I am that you'll love it, but I know you have to try it. Sometimes you're not so sure. It's okay, just sign up. 45 days, you'll get to be able to attend 3 of our meetings here, 3 of them. You'll get to learn 3 of the diet-free habits and step into that. And if you're not loving it and can't wait to hear what all the rest of them are, then no worries, no questions asked. All right, so you can see all the details on our website for how you could get that refund. So check that out. And I just want to invite you and say, yay, you.